Hello and welcome to my studio. I'm Jessie and this is the Knit Up and Dye podcast, episode 126, New Year, New Plans. I'm going to apologize right now. This is going to be really edited. I filmed this twice before and for reasons unknown my microphone is coming and going and it's not necessarily recording. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it, but everything looks good this time. As always, I'm going to start with my thank yous. Special thank you goes out to all of my subscribers, both new and ongoing. What you see here is all about you guys. Your feedback, your messages to me drive the content of my podcast. Special love and thanks go out to Monica, Nancy, Rachel, Leanne, Eve, Faye, Mary, Marie, David, Donna, Amy, Tara, Diane, Allison, Barbara, Adriana, Wayne, Patricia, Lisa Lette, Jorge, Kath, Christy, Needsy, Charlotte, Roseanne, Linda, Marie, Betty Ann, Scott and John, Heather, Kate, Janet, and Terry. Much love goes out to my Zoom family, Robert, Juanita, Paula, Brian, Katie, Eve, Jamie, Jen, Elizabeth, Shirley, Roz, and Nicole. I hope to see you guys soon. A warm hello and thank you goes out to all of my patrons. You make this possible and I have huge appreciation for your support. Thank you. It's been 2 weeks since I saw you guys last. I did film a holiday episode. I hope you had an opportunity to watch and enjoy that. Those are always fun for me. I enjoy just having something really off the beaten path to offer that's just a holiday celebration. I took last week off. I was dying for my trunk show and just trying to catch my breath. The holidays were really weird this year with the holidays landing midweek. My day job was like Monday, Friday, holiday, Monday, Friday, weekend, repeat. And that was really disorienting to me. I feel like it's been 4 weeks since I talked to you guys last and I'm still trying to find my ground on that. I did a lot of crafting though, and I'm really excited to show you guys what I did. I was working on my How to Eat an Elephant blanket, and I have this new protocol where I'm trying to do 3 squares a week to get on task and really get this firmed up and done in a reasonable time frame. When I talked to you guys last, I was a couple squares behind, and so I knew that I had to do 5 squares to get back on track, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this week, I only get 2 of my 3 squares done. So for this coming week, I have 4 squares to do. But for the most part, I'm on track. Worst I ever am is 1 or 2 squares behind, and I catch back up. I am actually still ahead of goal from when I started this new arrangement with myself that I was going to do 3 squares a week. And so I'm feeling really good about it. And I've made a lot of progress by doing the 3 squares a week. I have got 3 columns almost all the way done. And I'm feeling really positive about it. I'm achieving small goals on a regular basis. And I'm seeing progress. And I'm feeling really tied into this project now. Yes, I'm still keeping a second project beside this so that if I don't feel like doing that, I can work on this instead. But for the most part, I'm not behind. I'm not behind and I'm not leaving this languishing like I had been. I am starting to run out of certain little bits and bobs that are in my basket here. When I work on this, I reach in and I find another ball of yarn and try to make it fit in here, not so close to the last one of that same color. And some of them I'm just plain running out of. So I'm looking forward to incorporating some more yarns and projects into this. But I'm also keeping small bits of the original ones to incorporate later, so there's a continuity in the blanket and it's not just this I don't know. I want bits and bobs everywhere. I do have some projects that I'm working on that are going to add some more sock yarns to this in the near future and more colors, and I'm excited for that too. But it's starting to get a little thin, and I think I need to incorporate a couple of my minis into this as well, and just add more variety, I guess. I had talked to you guys, last episode that I actually talked to you guys, I talked about having the need for some travel projects, and I started a couple of them. The first one that I cast on is Jean's Cowl by Jamie McCanless. Jamie published this pattern in 4 different weights, so it's a wonderful pattern to use if you are just using up your leftovers. Really fabulous, fabulous design, really well written pattern. We have this actually as a collaboration up on my website, Dye Monkey Yarns, where you can buy the kit and get the pattern and a skein of yarn for it at one nice price. I'm using a yarn very similar to the kit yarn. It's a high twist single, and I am so happy with how it's coming out. I cast this on 2 weeks ago. You can see I've done a lot of work. And it's going so fast. I'm really thrilled with it. This is the fingering weight. It is a high twist single. This happens to be a yarn from my stash that I've had for like 12 years now, that, you know, you buy that one skein of yarn and you never find a project good enough for it. This is one of those skeins for me. It is, it's a luxury yarn. I got this on sale. It was a screaming deal. It's cashmere, silk, and merino blend. Oh, it's squishy and soft and lovely, and it's going to be just wonderful against my neck in this. And I'm so happy with it. The color is a shale. It is a gray-brown. It comes up on the camera kind of purple in this light. I'm not sure quite why, but even perceived as purple, it's lovely. And I just couldn't be happier. I'm about halfway through this, and I'm super excited about it. It's been a fun knit, it's been a fast knit, and I love it. I love it. If you're interested in the kit, pop on over to Dye Monkey Yarns. If you're looking just for the pattern to use up some yarn you have in your stash, go over to Ravelry. Jamie has that pattern up there. It's Jean's Cowl. So ultimately, I wanted to have 2 travel projects. I like to have a couple small things going at the same time, and so I have finally got to the point where I've cast on my second of my Through the Clouds crochet shawl by Rachel Newen. The pattern is lovely. It uses 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn, and it's a single crochet triangular shaped shawl, really smart. She does color blocking where she has you using 2 colors for so many rows and then 2 colors for so many rows. And I've actually crocheted one of these already, where I added a 4th skein because I wanted more color and I wanted to punch it up a little bit, and changed up some of the color blocking a little bit. I've decided to do it again, and this time I'm following the formula of the pattern, but I'm changing up the colors completely. And I'm putting in colors whenever I want to put in colors. I had shown you guys I had bought 4 skeins of yarn that really looked really nice together, and I was sure that I was going to use those. I worked with 3 of the skeins and they were gelling beautifully, and I kept trying to interject this 4th skein, and it just was not acting friendly with the others. It didn't contrast quite enough. It didn't blend quite enough. It just was the odd man out. And I was fretful about it. I really kept thinking, oh, you know, I wanted to use this with it. Well, maybe if I combine it with this yarn, maybe if I just put a stripe of it in here. It kept sticking out like a sore thumb, and I finally had to just go, okay, not gonna work. What is the solution here? I want 4 skeins because I really want size. I want to go even bigger than the last one I did. Do I stop and try to purchase online another skein that'll go with it? Kind of sight unseen, because these are already married together, and the 4th one I'm looking at a picture and guessing as to whether the colors are going to work, or do I use something from my stash? I went stash diving repeatedly. the colors that were coming up were really beautiful. I knew that I could get away with a red or a raspberry kind of tone against the corals that were happening. Or I could maybe pull in an orange. I dove, I dug. What was happening was the oranges that I had, of course, are in the yellow family and in the red family. But whenever I tried to incorporate a red to it, or even my other oranges, there was a blue undertone and it just was clashing. It wasn't working nicely together. I needed to find something that was still in the family that complemented but offered contrast at the same time. And I kept coming back to this one skein that was purple. The purple shade that I found had some blue purples in it, but it predominantly had red purples in it, which were really nice with the oranges in there. But I was still hesitant. I still just thought, you know, this is really, it's a purple, it's a rich purple, and I have these light coral colors, and is this gonna work? Not sure, not sure. Y'all know this answer already if you're following me on Instagram, because you've seen the pictures. It worked. I actually just stopped and I showed the skeins to John, who has an amazing eye for color, and he's like, yep, purple. He's right. He is, of course, right. And so I put purple in it. This is my modified color order, Through the Clouds shawl by Rachie Newen. It is crochet with fingering weight, and I am just striping wherever I want to stripe, and that purple is awesome. I love what it's doing in this. I am so happy with this color combination. I never imagined that I would love orange and purple together without it being Halloween. I don't think that this comes across as Halloween, but it definitely has colors that I associate to Halloween, with a rich pumpkin orange and with a rich dark purple tone. It's just gorgeous. I'm so happy with this, and I have made really good progress on this. Those of you who've been with me for a period of time now know that my first Through the Clouds shawl, I cast that baby on 48 times. Sometimes I would get all the way out 3-4 inches and have to rip back because I realized that I had made grave errors in it. I've learned. I can do a single crochet. This one is flying, absolutely flying, as you can tell. I am delighted with it. I actually haven't touched it this past week. That's how much I got into this, and I was just cruising through it and really enjoying it. The rows get longer every row with the steady increases, so it's already getting to a point where for me to take this as a travel project is I might get one row done. That's okay. That's okay. It's really more living beside the sofa and being my alternate to my How to Eat an Elephant blanket, and I'm happy to have that there. I like to have a couple projects there, just because you get bored sometimes. Sometimes you just get tired of doing something, or you're not feeling it and you want to do something different. Sometimes it's about how my shoulder's feeling. This is really right intensive, so it doesn't work so well for my shoulder, so I do some of my blanket knitting, or I go back and forth between the two. I do a square of this and a couple of rows of that. Very happy with the progress of this. Very happy with the colors and the diversion I had there. I would highly recommend it. It's a fun crochet project. There's so much creative license. You can change up the colors and do whatever you want. The only thing for me about this project is because I'm changing colors, sometimes I'm only putting in one row of a color. I'm gonna have a lot of ends to weave in. But I need to learn how to weave in crochet ends a little bit better. I need to get online and really look at that. So that's really what I was supposed to be knitting, and what I promised to be knitting, and what I promised to be crocheting. And that obviously has had great progress. I'm really happy with the direction all that went in. New Year's Day, I had off from work. It's a holiday. And I have been just really every minute of my weekends has been just nailed down and dedicated to my business, my work, my podcast. And I really hadn't taken any downtime for me in a while. I really hadn't. And sometimes that is not so much about the activities that I'm doing, but what's going on in my head. So even if I was just knitting, I was focused on get this done for the podcast, or this should be blocking, or I need to be designing this, or there was rumination that was happening, and I was burning myself out pretty good. I also have the stress of my day job's company move coming, and even though I'm embracing it and I'm feeling really good about it and I'm counting down, there's underlying stress associated to that. For me, moving is very, very stressful. There's trauma attached to it. And even though I'm embracing and I'm feeling good about this, my subconscious is busy and it's eating me alive. And I needed downtime, real downtime. So I dedicated New Year's Day to nothing. Yes, nothing. Basically, even shut off my cell phone for the most part. I used it a couple times. I used it as a calculator and I used it as a camera. I did not get on any social media. I did not post anything. I didn't even read emails. I was very careful to downtime myself and lazed around a bit, but I don't do nothing well. Everything that you see, the knitting, the crochet, the dyeing, the spinning, the podcast, everything that you see here is the result of me not doing nothing well. I needed something to keep myself busy so that I didn't snack and so that I had something in my hands that I could do and just hang out in the garage with my husband when he was working on his motorcycles. I could sit and just knit a hat. And it exploded into all of this. And I'm thrilled by that. I love it. I love what I do. But one little hour of nothing has become this grand scheme because I don't do nothing well. And the exact same thing happened on my holiday where I was doing nothing, but to a good end, to a very good end. I had a bunch of magazines on my coffee table that had earned no love. I bought them and they sat there. And so I had some time to really sit there and flip through and look at them and enjoy my knitting magazines. And there was this one pattern, this one sweater in my Vogue Knitting Holiday issue. And I was smitten. I was smitten. It's perfect. I love it. I cast it on. I blogged about it over on my Patreon page. If you're a Patreon, you know the story already. I'm knitting another sweater. And taking that downtime, I literally dedicated 11 hours. I sat on my sofa and I knit. And I knit through a couple podcasts. I knit through some movies. I had a lunch sitting there. And then set it aside, and my husband and I had a nice dinner. But I made amazing progress, and I have a sweater that I am super happy with and super proud of. This is Lozenge. It is by Fatima Hines. It is in the Vogue Holiday 2019, Vogue Knitting 2019 Holiday issue. I have a couple, I'm going to complain. I have a couple issues with the sweater. And the issues have nothing to do with the designer. Nothing. One of the things that happens when we license our patterns to publication in magazines or in collaborative books is that we have a design and we give it to this other entity and they do the photography and the publication. We don't have the opportunity to go back in and correct their typos, their misinterpretations, the way they have put it in. And So this pattern, as it is published, has errors in it. That happens. That is not about the designer. That is about the publication. I looked for errata before I started. There is none published on Vogue Knitting to date. I published in my Ravelry project page all the edits that I have found thus far. And the edits are, the errors, the typos in the pattern are so much so that even the stitch definition has a typo in it and would make you do the stitch wrong. Doing a knit instead of a purl, quite literally that wrong. That I really want to stress to people, that is not about the designer. The designer had a pattern that they created, and the pattern is beautiful and lovely, and the typos are about the publication company. And this is a problem that I have run into time and time and time again. I've talked to you guys very briefly in other episodes about, I had huge fears about knitting garments for myself, about knitting sweaters. And a huge chunk of that was because once upon a time I tried to knit myself a sweater from a knitting magazine that was a publication where the designer had a beautiful design. The sweater was gorgeous. I loved it. But when I followed the pattern, and I was an inexperienced knitter, I did not know how to spot the typos and the errors in it, and I didn't self-edit stuff. The sweater had 3 sleeves. I never got so far as to actually knit the 3 sleeves, but it had 3 armholes and a neck hole. There were errors in the pattern, and sometimes that's about, you know, you've been typing in Word and you cut and you paste a paragraph. Sometimes that's about data being shifted or moved, sometimes inadvertently, and not being final checked. That happens. I'm probably going to go to hell for all the swears that sweater evoked from me. I'm hoping to give into the universe help for others that redeem my soul from that. But this is a common problem, and I think it stymies a lot of early knitters, that publications are not very thorough in honoring the designer, in double checking the entries before they're posted, in expanding on the work. This particular pattern is only available in 3 sizes, which in today's understandings and desire to include people, all people, is really myopic. Really myopic. Literally, this is the medium, and it's going to fit me, and the next size up is only 2 inches bigger. I'm not a really big person. I'm not a really small person. I am super average in my size. For me to land dead middle in a 6-inch variation with no ease notes attached to the pattern is really frustrating. If I were to knit this for my mother, she would swim in it. They don't have enough small sizes. If I were to knit this for my dear friend, Andrea, she wouldn't be able to get it around her arm. The magazine brags about being size inclusive. They talk about having broad size ranges, and yet this is one of 2 patterns in there that doesn't have an expanse of sizes. Again, this is not about the designer. When I look at the designer's other work, she has broad size ranges. She has beautiful options. It's about the publication, what the publication was looking for, and what they narrowed everything down to. Once this falls out of the copyright of the magazine, I fully expect that this will have multiple size ranges associated to it and will not include the errors that were in the publication. But rolling back, I want to encourage anyone who has tried to do a magazine or a collaborative book pattern and just run into walls. Check for errata. They publish corrections from time to time. But don't don't judge against the designer either. Very often it has nothing to do with the designer. Try again. Keep trying. Keep trying. I swore off sweaters. I really did. I referred to them as S words because they were so horrible for me. And had I followed this one exactly as it was written, I would have sworn it off again. It wasn't going to happen. I'm fortunate only in that I have done enough now, good patterns supported by the designers directly, that I understood what was happening and I was able to go back and make the edits myself. I highly recommend working from patterns that are published directly by the designer, so that you have pattern support, so that you can reach out to your designer and find out, am I misinterpreting or is this a typo? And they often will republish the pattern with corrections. That's that. This is gorgeous. I'm super happy with it. This is my double stomp monkey yarn. It is an Aran weight tweed that I had left over from my trunk show this past fall. It unwound. I had offered it up as a sweater lot for sale, and ended up it just didn't sell, so I kept it for myself, and I'm very delighted with it. And it's really a beautiful, beautiful combination of stitches and yarn, and that the definition is coming up just so beautifully. And I'm excited to wear it and mark this as my New Year project. And can you believe what I did in 11 hours? I mean, this is, the sleeves are separated off. I'm most of the way through the bottom. I couldn't be happier. And I'm dropping my yarn. That's what I have to say about that. And again, my edits are all over on my Ravelry project page. If you happen to have this and you're eyeing it now and thinking that's a great project, but are not a Ravelry user, just reach out to me and I'll send you my notes. That is everything I've been knitting, everything I've been crocheting. Ha! Ha ha! I finished my Brickyard sweater in my Glamrock colorway. It's actually over on my blocking table. I should be able to show it to you next week. It's really wet, or I'll pop a picture, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here with the edits. But that sweater's done, and I should be able to wear that this week. I'm really excited about the opportunity to do that. I let it sit for an entire week done and just never got to blocking it. That's crazy. I can't believe I did that. Let me check my notes here and see what else I have for you guys. Oh, going forward, I've made a decision on my shop online. From now on, all US orders over $50 are going to receive free shipping, and I've got that in the banner across the top of the page to remind you there's no coupon code necessary for that. When you check out, if your total is over $50, it'll give you that option to either choose an expedited shipping option if you wish, or take advantage of the free shipping. Yay! Also looking forward, I talked to you guys briefly about the poll that I did over on my Patreon page. If you're not familiar with Patreon, please pop over there and take a look. The link is down below, or it's in the credits for you. It's an opportunity to support me, and it's a place where I look for direct feedback from you guys, as well as offer some exclusive content. I did a poll to really see kind of what you guys directly wanted to see in the coming year. And I got really great responses, really great responses. Thank you to everybody who wrote to me directly as well. Overwhelmingly, y'all said that you wanted to do a knit along. I had offered up the suggestion of a mystery knit along. Mysteries are not as exciting to you guys as just a straight knit along. So I am looking at what we're going to knit along. It may be simply a theme where we all knit a hat, or it may be a specific project with a side bumper of a theme if that project doesn't appeal to you. I'm working on sorting out the details on that. We're all very interested in giveaways, absolutely, and I'm excited about that. That's going to be coming up in the near future. I may tie the first giveaway to the knit along so that we have a reward system for you participating in that. Interestingly enough, a number of you said that you wanted me to do the live podcasts again. Great. That's cool. I'm excited to do that because that gives us real-time live feedback where you drive what I talk about. You get to ask questions and get responses directly from me. That is a feature that YouTube offers us. The communication is that I'm on video and I'm talking to you guys live, and you're able to type in chat what your questions are or what your comments are back to me, and I'm reading it in the field down the side of my screen as I'm sitting and hanging out and talking to y'all. That gives me an opportunity to podcast light, where I don't have as formal a presentation. I'm not following a cheat sheet here, but I can sit and I can craft with you for a few minutes and we can talk about whatever's on your mind, whatever you're interested in. That definitely is going to happen. I'm going to start looking at my schedule and figure out when I can get that to happen. Generally speaking, weekends are the best for me because I do work a full-time job, but it is possible that I may be able to squeak in a weeknight so that we have something in a different time slot so that you have more opportunities. I'm definitely going to roll that into my schedule for the coming year and try and get us some of those. I think that's great. I think it's fun. I miss doing it. The ones that we did were a good time. I'm back to my cheat sheet. A number of you had written into me and said that you really missed the holiday activity this year. Last year we had done an ornament swap. As you're all aware, I was very overwhelmed this year. We had some scheduling changes that happened that kind of threw me. Initially, my company was supposed to have moved the week between Christmas and New Year's, and so with all of the stuff involved in that, it was just so overwhelming that I knew I wasn't going to be able to handle that. I also had a trunk show in late fall that was big that I had a lot of preparations for. So I just felt overwhelmed. The general complications with shipping and everything else just seemed insurmountable for me. I would love to do another ornament swap. I would love to do some holiday activity, if not the ornament swap, absolutely. And I'm already actually thinking about how to make that happen for the next year. I think that starting early is key. I'm actually, don't hold me to this, toying seriously with doing a yarn advent in which you would have the opportunity to purchase an advent calendar of yarns. It is key that if I do this, I start now and really build up that stock and start dyeing a little bit at a time to get that project into fruition now. I sat down, I bought a calendar, a plan book, and I have been putting in the dead essentials and really giving myself a lot of free space to add these kind of things in and to dream about these kinds of things. And I'm excited to have that opportunity and that interest from you guys. Getting this feedback is everything. It's what this is about. And I'm definitely going to be looking at what we can do to make that happen. I also had a number of you say more tutorials and the promised tutorials. Again, that's about headspace, and it's one thing to design a class. It's another thing to design a class that has multiple steps that need to be filmed. So I am putting that foremost. I am going to get that done. I promise you that is something that it's been a goal for well over a year, probably 2 at this point, to get the Squircle sock pattern tutorial videoed and going for you so that this is a sock that you could readily do. It is a free pattern. The pattern can be found on Ravelry via a designer that goes by the name General Hog Buffer. Makes me laugh every time I say it. It's a brilliant design. It's especially flexible and comfortable for somebody with a high instep or a very broad ankle, the diagonal measure of the ankle. And I love it. It fits me beautifully. It's a wonderful pattern. Even it fits my husband beautifully. It's a wonderful pattern. It's fun, and it makes use of self-striping yarn so that you have some really fun visual activity in that sock. And it's a formula that can be adapted to any size. So those of you that reached out to me and said, girl, get on that, loud and clear, I got you, and we're going to do that. If you have any other things that I haven't talked about that you're interested in seeing here or doing with me, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's see what we can do. As you're aware, I'm doing collaborations in my shop. There are some kits there already. More kits are coming. We are working with designers. We are working with dyers. We are working with knitters and crocheters and sewers, and trying to really expand the offerings in there to create a one-stop fun place to go for all your crafting needs, really. No, I will not be carrying needles. That was a question that I got recently. People wanted to know if I was going to have a line of needles in my shop. I will not. That is very inventory intensive and just not something I'm gonna do. I have a hard enough time with the needles I keep here. I think that is everything I have for you guys. So for the coming week, what you're going to see is I'm going to continue my sweater. I'm going to continue my blanket. I'm going to continue my travel projects, and I will get the Brickyard sweater done blocking, and you guys will get to see that. And we're going to go from there. Be watching on my other social places here and my other announcements for dates for the live podcast. If you have interest in the live podcast, but you have scheduling issues, let me know what works for you. I can work around my calendar a little bit here and see if there is a general Sundays just aren't going to work for anybody, Saturday is better, that kind of a thing. Let me know. Let me know and I'll try and make that happen for you. That's everything I have for you guys. It was wonderful to sit with you again, and Happy New Year, and make it yours. Yeah. Love you. Bye.